what's going to be? How's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Hey, everybody, we're getting close to the end of the year. We're still bringing you absolute banger episodes, and we're bringing you some of the best bands out there that you should know about if you don't. And the one we got today, oh Lord, this is a fantastic under an hour episode. You're not going to want to miss out on it. Plus the energy from this band, especially on their brand new album, Bloom Season. Oh dear Lord, is it intense. You want to know how great Bloom Season is? I mean, I thought Dark Bloom by We Came as Romans, the banner right back there, was fantastic. Bloom Season, it's also fantastic, the best way to put it. Before we jump into it, I want to thank our sponsor of this podcast, Manscaped. So yes, the holiday season's coming around the corner. It's the holiday season. Okay, now I'm starting to act like Bill Burr on his podcast right there. But yes, the holidays are coming up, and what better way to show the person in your life or the man in your life that, that you care for them by getting them a gift to help them care for their boys down there. So Manscaped comes in the best in men's below-the-belt grooming, and one of the best things you can do is make sure that they smell good down there and that they're not chafing down there. I mean, before using the stuff from Manscaped, I would chafe all the time, run all the time, bike all the time. I mean, the redness between my legs from chafing was just ungodly. I was walking bow-legged around like, this town ain't big enough for the two of us. But Manscaped has this stuff called the Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant. I swear by this stuff. I always put it on after a workout. What happens is it makes my stuff down there smell, not like ass. That's the best way to put it. But at the exact same time, it also prevents chafing as well. And it makes sure that my legs between them smooth as silk on the finger rollers, whatever they say in basketball. But go get yourself some of that now. Go get some for the person in your life that could really use it. And make sure that you say, hey, for Christmas this year, and help you out, I'm showing you that I care about you by caring for your boys down there. Go to manscaped.com, get 20% off and free shipping. Use the code CPP at checkout, manscaped.com. Link to the podcast. Now in our feature presentation, Jordan from the band Borders is here on the podcast. They Borders from the United Kingdom. Their brand new album, Bloom Season, is out as of the recording, or not, as the release of this episode, I should say. And it is nuts. The band goes into so many different things with, you listen to Godless, it's just metalcore heavy energy right in your face. You listen to Nothing Wrong with Your NWWM, and it's like, it's got this trap beat feel there. They're metalcore, but they infuse so many more of this like new metalcore, this rap style in there. There's a lot of energy on here. We talk about Godless, we talk about the thought behind it. We also dive deep in Nothing Wrong with Me and the concept of addiction and the story that really drove the song to it. And Jordan does open up to us on the podcast a little bit, tells a story about how Nothing Wrong with Me helped him get sober, and even deeper stuff behind there as well too. So this podcast is a perfect one for you to also feel the energy and just really getting deep and get an understanding with the fact that you need to listen to Bloom Season by Borders after you listen to this episode. So are you guys ready? Because I am. Are you ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. You know, one of my favorite things to do in the world is this podcast. One of my other favorite things to do in the world is go to concerts, jump into mosh pits, and go absolutely crazy as possible. Never jump out of the pit during the set and just lose my mind over it. So when I got a chance to listen to this band's new record, Bloom Season, take a look at the singles, take a listen to them, I just kept thinking to myself, this is something I need to see. This is something I need to be a part of. This is something I need to jump in the pits because the energy, the tenacity, the heaviness, the madness of it is just intense. I can't get enough of it, and I hope you guys will think the same thing. So before you find out about the album, before you dive into it, how about we talk about it, shall we, with the man behind the album. So please welcome from the UK, from the band Borders, Jordan the podcast. So Jordan, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. No, I'm stoked to be here. So, mosh pits the way forward. So I'm really glad that you could.
Your audio just cut out on me right then and there, Jordan. Alrighty, I think I got you back.
We're back.
Alrighty, so at least we got through the weird part of this, the weird, technical difficulty right at the beginning.
Yeah, we're back, man.
We're back, but like you said, mosh pits and just in getting that induced energy in there, I mean, that's what this record is chock full of. I couldn't get enough of it. I mean, I was listening to it the day before we recorded this thing, and it didn't take long for me to want to smash into the wall and try and start a one-man mosh pit in here. Quote-unquote, not the best idea.
I was saying to you before, man, that's what we call the borders effect. It's nice that you can headbang to parts, you can kind of just bop and vibe to certain parts, or just chill out to other parts as well. But I think the main thing that we're trying to put across is that aggression. So it's nice that you picked that up, my dude.
Oh, I absolutely picked that up. And now it's got me thinking, because the week before we recorded this episode, I went down to Chicago to go and see that Bring Me the Horizon tour that was going through the United States, where they had Knocked Loose opening for them. And after listening to stuff, I'm thinking, now that would have been nuts if it would have been Borders, Knocked Loose, Bring Me the Horizon. I mean, the pits were already crazy enough for Knocked Loose and Bring Me the Horizon as is. But if we threw you guys in there to open up for Knocked Loose, I'm pretty sure we might have already been knocked loose before Knocked Loose even went on stage.
Yeah, no. Do you know what? Bring Me the Horizon is one of my favorite bands, of course. Like, we live kind of round the corner from those guys, like literally, like, so not as in like, 10 minutes, but 40 minutes away, maybe, from sort of where Ollie Sykes is from. And they actually have a restaurant in Sheffield called Church. And it's awesome. They used to have a tattoo parlor there. You can play games. You can smash coffees. You can eat cool vegan food. It's awesome. But on the topic of Bring Me the Horizon, like, what an inspiration, especially for all of us in Borders. I think not only that can they bring the aggressive kind of stuff, but no matter what they do, whether it's pop or emo music or whatever, or like, I swear they've done like some trance shit as well. But like, they can always keep their fans and gain new ones. So I'm glad you've mentioned them, actually, because they're a massive inspiration to us guys. So,
well, if they're a massive inspiration to you, I mean, I want to get a little bit more in deep with that, because of how many people not only absolutely love the music of Bring Me the Horizon, get down to it, especially from, the days of Count Your Blessings and Suicide Seasons, all the way to what was probably my favorite record from them with Sempiternal. Then you get to, That's the Spirit, you get to Amo, you get to the singles that have come out recently, the collaboration with Ed Sheeran. What was it about Bring Me the Horizon that just brought you into that and has influenced you to, make Borders as awesome as it is today?
Well, I listened to Bring Me the Horizon when they had Pray for Plagues out. So that was like my first introduction to them. And it pretty much went Linkin Park, Slipknot, Bring Me the Horizon. So that was like my stage of heavy music. So you know what, like, when I first started like screaming vocals, the first cover I did, you can actually find it on YouTube. I was 14 years old and I did like a cover of Pray for Plagues by Bring Me the Horizon. So 14 years ago. But I think it was at that time, it was probably being a part of like the emo culture. And they were in that scene. And obviously a lot of heavy bands kind of came into the scene after Bring Me the Horizon. But all of us moshers, all of us grebs, all of us emos, we never stopped listening to Bring Me the Horizon, no matter what record they released. So it inspires musicians to not just follow the same old format and feel like you have to do what people want. They can do whatever they want, and they still have a party, and they still put some incredible music out in the world. So who cares? Like, I think music these days is about having fun. Do what you want to do, put your own stamp on the scene, and Bring Me the Horizon are the best example of that.
Oh, there's no doubt they're the best example of that, because you take a look at when you listen to their music, it's, again, go back to Count Your Blessings with Pray for Plagues, and go back to Suicide Season where you had Chelsea Smile and Diamonds Aren't Forever. I mean, that's just straight heavy aggression coming right at your face, just as angry as possible. But then you get to 2013 Sempiternal, and now it's more of that metalcore bass. They bring in Jordan Fish as well, and just adds more of that like electronic synth layer to it, and makes it sound so much grander. Then they start to go a little bit more with that stadium appeal with That's a Spirit. They go a lot more experimental with Amo. Then they did, I can't remember they had that album that was like Songs to whatever. I can't remember the whole title. It's like 50 words long, but it was more of that just kind of like translucent, real vibey music. Post-Human Survival Horror comes out. It's like a smash gathering of everything they've ever done. And now you take a look at the singles they've done, Die For You Strangers, the collaboration they did with Ed Sheeran. It's when it comes to Bring Me the Horizon, we've stuck with them for so long because the quality of the music is there. The integrity of the music is there. The believability of what Ali Sykes is putting into those lyrics is there. So we want to stick around with it. But the biggest key and the biggest inspiration, I even had conversations about this before with other people as well, is when you take a look at Bring Me the Horizon, they've never gone and chased a trend. They've changed with the times. They've never gone and chased a trend. They've always evolved into what they want to do. They're not staying the same and just kind of, okay, we're this and we can't wiggle out of this like certain space. They're not going to put themselves in a box, but they're also not going to follow along with what is popular right now. They're not going to always be doing what you think is like the best. They're just going to be doing what they want to do themselves. They're going to make the music they want, and look at where they are. The best band probably in rock and metal today. I mean, no one's hitting like pop culture like they are right now.
Yeah, I think, in years to come, like the headliners we're seeing for festivals at the moment are like Kiss, AC/DC, and they're on festivals like every 2-3 years, and they're just kind of rotating them. I think in years to come, Bring Me the Horizon will be that band because they're just iconic. They're brilliant at what they do. But interestingly, I think with Bring Me the Horizon, they do seem to predict what's going to be popular. Like, but even before, so they'll bring a record out, and like all of a sudden, that music is going to blow up. Like, I think they're onto something with the emo vibe at the moment, because obviously we've got bands like My Chemical Romance coming back. So I think they're targeted in their approach, definitely. But yeah, dude, incredible band.
Yeah, they may be targeting their approach, but they're just doing it the way they want to do it. Because again, you listen to like Strangers, and it might have a little bit more of that, it's going to be hitting on some of those emotions that are really hitting with the nostalgia field at this time. But the song isn't going to just be for this next like 8 to 10 month period. No, that song can stand out on its own. They could be playing that song at concert venues, at festivals, in their live set 10, 15 years down the line. And it's not going to sound like it was so stuck in a certain time. It's because the quality of music they put out is that good, because even though their approach might be targeted, what they're doing is what they want to do. They're just following along their own path here.
Yeah, and their music all blends together nicely. Like I had the pleasure of watching them live 3 years ago, and they literally did a melody of, they did like trying to think, Diamonds Aren't Forever, Chelsea Smile. They did all those kind of songs, but then when you listen to that and then you're listening to like Happy Song as well, it's such a contrast, but weirdly it fits because the energy that they bring on stage just carries it. I think Ollie said something recently about their live shows being like Disneyland on stage, which I found quite interesting, because they're just showmen. Like, but yeah, heavily inspirational for us. I'm looking forward to what they bring out from here.
I mean, maybe they'll end up bringing you guys out on tour at some point, just because if you're gonna listen to Bloom Season, which everyone should do because is badass, we'll put it that way. But the energy you guys put behind there, just the intensity you guys put behind there. If Bring the Rise is gonna bring Knocked Loose on tour with them, and so you're gonna get hardcore right before you go into Bring Me the Horizon, it still fits because Bring Me the Horizon can match that energy. You guys, I see a very similar vibe there, just with a completely different style of sound. It's still there. It still works. And when it comes to these massive tour packages, one of the best things you can do is just not necessarily stick with what exactly the genre is. There's we have to have this kind of music on there. No, build the best show possible. Build that energy. Build that flow. So if you guys go on before Bring Me the Horizon, you guys create this manic, intense energy. Everyone's, cranked up to 11 at that point. Bring Me the Horizon goes on. Boom. Everyone is ready for it. Everyone is ready to go. And there's not going to be a skip in the overall, emotion or energy of the show between the two bands.
I totally agree, man. I think it's not so much about this style or genre of band that they have supporting them. It's more about the energy. And something we've always been proud of is our stage performance, our stage shows. We don't like to take metal super seriously. Like some frontmen and some bands might want to like come across like they're this super like aggressive people, but us, like, we're kind of people say Borders is like metal with a smile, because they come to see us live and they can see how happy we are to play, and it's just an interesting contrast. I just love hyping up the crowd. I love the energy that we bring, and we're super proud of that. So Bring Me, if you're listening to this podcast, we're about next year. Get us on tour.
There you go. Or if you're able to come to the US, hook up with these two bands, Void and Silent Planet. Their style of just like their stage presence is the exact same. It's all about just creating the best show possible, but the energy is up. And they're just having fun doing it. I've seen Garrett swing from the rafters. I've seen Benny just completely go absolutely nuts for a Void. And it's something that I'm listening to you speak about it, and that's all I'm thinking about is, okay, can we somehow get you guys over to the US in the next like couple of like weeks or so? Because those two bands are going on tour with The Plot and You, and oddly enough, they're also going on tour with Cane Hill as well. Where I mean, you guys could bring out Elijah for Godless, and we could just have an absolute blast of a time listening to that. We might have to find a way to get you guys out in the next like week or two.
Dude, I'm there. I'll quit my day job right now and get a flight across. No, we are keen to come to the States. We recently toured with a band called Dropout Kings, and they came to the UK, but they've been talking to us for a while about bringing us over to the States. So, dude, we're there. Yeah,
because I know Dropout Kings, they're going to be going on tour at the end of 2022 here in the United States. It's like them, Dragged Under, The Word Alive, and From Ashes to New. And I'm like, that's going to be a lot of fun because, well, a lot of those bands are fun. Plus, I love From Ashes to New. But on top of that, bringing Dropout Kings on there, just get that crazy kind of energy. And then you've got the song with them too, Nothing Wrong With Me, or NWWM. And I'll put it this way, the song you had with Godless featuring Elijah from Cane Hill and Nothing Wrong With Me, NWWM featuring Dropout Kings, those are my two favorite songs you guys came out with. Just the creativity that was behind those and the energy is so different, but it's so intense at the exact same time. I was able to connect with those instantly. I mean, the features on them too just blended so well together. I don't know how you guys did it, man, but
thank you.
Well done.
You very much. Yeah, well, we needed to pick the perfect feature for the story. And given Elijah's lyrical content throughout most of Cane Hill, he talks about atheism, he talks about gods and issues with religion. So it just resonated with us, man. Godless was basically about going through kind of trauma. My dad was rushed into hospital one night, and I just remember that feeling of kind of aggression towards a god, if there was one, because it was like, how can he let this happen? Do you know what I mean? It's basically that kind of feeling. So we wanted it to be the heaviest, most aggressive track on that record, and who better than Elijah to come and feature on that, really. But just touching on what you've said with Dropout Kings, it was a similar sort of thing, man. The story just fits with them, and kind of, if you listen to what they're about, we talk about struggles with alcohol, struggles with drugs and things like that. And then those guys hop on. It just fits. It just worked really well, man. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, both of them really fit, and I would like to dive deep into them as well. And I kind of want to start with Godless because that was the first one we started with. And sure. Just especially for even my background as well, because growing up, I went to Catholic grade school. I went to Catholic high school. So that whole entire religious aspect, the whole God aspect was really, really a heavy focus when I was going through school at that time. But of course, things happen. In 8th grade, I got called potentially a demonic kid because my favorite band was Disturbed. So that's kind of how everything, really fluctuated there. But
out of every band, they said Disturbed. What?
yeah, because all of a sudden, I think they may have listened to like Inside the Fire, because it was right as the Indestructible album came out. And it's like, oh, no, this band. I'm like, this is a song about suicide and talking yourself out of it, basically. Like, that's the whole point of the song.
Yeah. No. I just kind of would have expected maybe like Slipknot or something,
Oh no! When I went to high school, it was like the first person I kind of really became friends with. The reason we became friends because I was a huge Disturbed fan. He's like, "Oh, I like Disturbed. I'm more of a Slipknot guy myself." And it was just at that moment, I like you, man.
Yeah. No, I definitely met those kids in school, but yeah, man. I mean, Godless was fun. It was a tough time for me to write it, but weirdly, it's going to be a very fun song to play live,
I know. I'll say no. I know exactly what you're hearing. I know exactly what you're talking about after listening to that song, man.
Yeah, it's just I like kind of like a contrast we tell some really maybe quite negative stories, but there's always an outcome. There's always a way out. The things that I've gone through and that I speak about on this record, ironically, at the end of the records, I have resolved. Like I was really bad with alcohol when I wrote Nothing Wrong With Me. So much so that when we got the first draft back of the video, dude, I was in hospital with like wires on me. Like I just like got way too drunk and just ended up in hospital. And then I look at my phone and Nothing Wrong With Me, the first draft, it's just been sent to me. And I'm like, dude, I'm in hospital right now. This is crazy. And then I got sober that day. So like the whole like journey of the album from like start to finish, like the struggles that I went through and some of the other band members, like towards the end of the album, have been resolved. So the lyrical content is just a massive journey, man. And I'm so proud to say that I'm like 10 months sober now. So
congratulations, bud. Really proud of you on that one, especially given the fact of that whole entire story where you're in a hospital bed and you get the first draft of the video. That's just the one thing that just resonates with you so much. So that's okay. This is the moment. If we're talking about this, we're talking about the struggles, and this is what I'm seeing right after probably what might end up being the lowest point for this addiction. This is the time to change it right now.
Yeah, what we created, it was like looking in a mirror. Like it kind of just, I don't know, it just kind of sparked me to say, this is fate. I need to do something about this. I need to get my life back on track. So yeah, just quit the alcohol there and then. And dude, I'm coming up to like a year in December. So, you know, we get to release the album next month. It's just all such a positive experience, man. But thank you for delving deep in this podcast. It's what we like, man.
Oh, we can dive even deeper in that, because now, of course, we're talking a little bit more about Nothing Wrong With Me. Like, I want to go even deeper in that, because when I was listening to the song, of course, I always like to look at like the meanings of it and what you're talking about. I mean, I pretty much picked that up right away about addiction and the stranglehold that it can have on you. Because anytime any addiction comes through, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, or anything that's going to end up potentially having a negative impact on you, it can be at some points create this dependency. It can be so hard to shake. And it talks about the manic state of flowing loss you can fall into if you let it get to that point. If you let all those that addiction take over your life, you might try and hide it from everybody else and say nothing's wrong with you because you don't want people to see the pain and the struggles. It's like, oh, people don't give a shit. People don't care. But I mean, it will take you down as hard as possible, and it will try and end you in a way. And thankfully for you, the first half of the video came to you at the exact right moment in life.
Yeah, and I hope that it comes to other people in the same way as well. That's the point of the song. It's you're going through an addiction, no matter what it is, and it's getting out of it. It's believing that nothing's wrong with you. There is a whole like kind of crazy story about that. It's so the song's quite personal, but also obviously we wanted it to be relatable to other people, so that's why we have the hook in there. Best believe there's nothing wrong. But yeah, man, so basically it's kind of difficult to talk about, so I'm sorry if I stumble a little bit because this is the first time that I'm talking about it. But yeah, so I had a bad experience on drugs, like a really bad trip, and it kind of at that time was making me see like God and the devil and all of this like crazy stuff. I thought I was possessed, dude. I was having stuff like bang on my walls. I was going through sleep paralysis. I was really scared, but because my dad comes from like a Christian background, it was kind of spoke into me that what was going on could be spiritual. So like I've kind of got one side of things where I'm thinking it's kind of like it's just the drugs, it's psychosis, like. And then the other side of things, I'm being told that it's like a demon that's like attached itself to me. So I decided to see a local. Yeah, you look spooked, man.
I'm enthralled with this. It makes the song so much more powerful and makes it stand out so much more. So please keep going. Like I'm not spooked. I'm just intrigued.
Yeah, I absolutely don't mind talking about it. It's tough, but yeah, I'm happy to go there. So I was 19 at the time. Yeah, I decided to go and see a priest, and I remember going into this room with him and him sitting me down, saying, "Look, what's going on?" I'm like, "Yeah, scary stuff's going on, mate. I took some bad drugs. I'm seeing all of this stuff. Like, what can we do about it?" And he says, basically, I think you've got like a demon of confusion that's going after you. There's like different types of demons. Like this one's one that affects your mind. Um, and he's like, what we need to do is obviously pray about it. And at this time, because I did have a faith in God, I do have a faith in God, no matter how much I question it. Um, I I didn't know what to believe about this because I was torn. So the guy starts praying and he tells me to close my eyes, right? This is the crazy part about the story. He tells me to close my eyes. So I close my eyes and he starts saying all this stuff. He's like speaking in tongues and like crazy shit like that. And the weirdest thing is I couldn't open my eyes, mate. I could not open my eyes. And I just felt this thing lift out of me. It's so odd to say, but I really did feel like I was being released of whatever kind of spiritual shit was going on, right? Um, and then, for a good month or 2 months, I was okay, but things started to creep back in. Um, all sorts of scary things. Like I thought I was seeing, like figures in the dark and all of that horrible stuff. But the thing that healed me was actually just believing that there was nothing wrong with me, because I know that sounds like kind of like corny to like just drop the hook in there, but I had one person the doctors telling me it was psychosis. I had the priest and my dad believing that it was something spiritual. And I don't think any of that was helping me. I think the more you think about something like that, the more it's going to scare you, the more you put these negative thoughts into your mind. So I was like, you know what? It's fine. I don't believe in any of that. And I believe that I can get out of this state that I'm in. And I did. I was like, I got out of it when I was probably about 20 years old, and I'm 28 now. So it's yeah, it was a truly awful experience. And it was empowering to tell the story finally, because I've always been worried about speaking about it because it might sound so odd to other people. But there's other people with different stories. And I think the good thing about this song is that some people might listen to it and think, hey, that's about alcohol. Hey, that's about drugs. Hey, that's about mental health in general. And no matter what you're going through in that respect, you can do the same as what I did, you know?
Yeah, and first off, thank you for sharing all of that, because anytime people go through stuff in life and stuff like that, and you keep it in, I mean, there's things that you get afraid to release to the world or talk about just because you're afraid, of like just kind of how it was, or afraid of potentially going back and looking back at those emotions, or some people just the judgment that might happen off of that. But I'm very big on the idea of, if you've gone something and you're comfortable sharing, share it, because what will end up happening is people will be able to connect with you on such a deeper level. People will be able to understand you on such a deeper level. And through that connection, through that empathy, we have a chance to help you heal together at the same time as well. Because I've gone through stuff in life as well that's been tough, where things are just not going right. And it did take me even to the point where I said, this is kind of on me to fix. This isn't on, some doctors to fix. It's not on drugs to fix. It's not on other people.
It comes to the point where you just have to take personal responsibility. Absolutely.
Yeah, when you finally are able to take that personal responsibility, I mean, there's just some power that comes through it. And then you finally get a chance to kind of say, yeah, there really is nothing wrong with me. There might be something that's just not right with me at the moment, but I can fix it. But in the end, there's really nothing wrong. And it's not about like faking it till you make it, but it's about realizing that you actually aren't in that certain space. You're not in that capacity. You can actually get out of that if you're going to try. The thing is, if you don't try, you're never going to get out of there. But if you actually take the time, focus and try, then you're going to be able to get out of that space. And listening to a song like this, I mean, it puts it out there so much more in the forefront. But what you said, people can listen to this and they can pick up certain other things that might be talking about different, like drugs, alcohol, whatever it might be. But that's because the way the song is written, the way it's presented, and like the different like kind of trap style beats that are over it to really create that distortion feel. What happens is we just take the lyrics, we take the emotion of the song, and we follow along with that whole entire journey. But we put in the pieces of our own life into that story so we can relate to it better.
Yeah, absolutely. No, people can be their own worst enemies. And it's quite healing to take responsibility of your life yourself rather than relying on something else, you know, a doctor, a priest. So yeah, no, thank you for talking to me about it.
Oh, you're welcome. And even to add a little bit more to that, we're not saying that, you know, reaching out to these people that are doctors, priests, parents, friends, asking for help, that is not something that we're against. No, reach out for help. But what we're all saying is there is such a major part of personal responsibility that you can ask for all the help in the world. But if it's something that's with you, the first thing that you have to do is be open to that change yourself. Be open to helping yourself, because then you're gonna be open to the help from others. If you're not gonna be open to helping yourself, then it's gonna be especially even more difficult to get to that point of understanding, get to that point of healing, get to that point where you can say nothing wrong with me. And that is absolutely the case. It is so much easier and helpful if you are willing to help yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with seeking the advice of a medical professional at all, but it's easy to get kind of trapped in just like a toxic spiral where you don't really want to accept anybody else's help, and you don't really see the reality kind of out there. And yeah, no, I just think taking personal responsibility is something that healed me, and hopefully the message can get some other people as well. I've already had like people messaging me saying that, like, one person in particular who suffers with dissociative personality disorder, and she sings the song to herself like every couple of days, and she tells me about it, and I just thought that was really awesome to have that feedback from somebody, because that's something that I didn't really know about. And this is one of our fans that's messaged us and said that, look, I keep telling myself every day that nothing's wrong with me, and she sends me like little videos of her singing the track, and that it's just sick, man. Love it.
Oh, that is awesome. And it even speaks to more of the power of the track and speaks to the power of the music that you have created, because you're seeing how people are connecting with it. You're seeing how people are using it to empower themselves, to create that sense of, I can help myself out in this. I can accept help, but I can also help myself to get to that point where, you know, there's nothing wrong with me. It gives us that motivation. It gives us that edge to actually pull us off and do this if we're stuck in such a dark place. And for that fan, shout out to them for, you know, using this song in such a powerful way, so that they're constantly using it as a way to just say, you know what, I got this. Nothing wrong with me. I got this. And just kind of send you those fun videos. I mean, I saw the smile that brought to your face when you started talking about that. That's just as genuine as it gets.
Yeah, she's awesome. We appreciate our fans so much. So yeah.
And I do want to mention once again, it's like, because it does have more of this like manic style, but like there's a lot of trap beats that you put over this, but it makes so much sense to have it over there with Dropout Kings on the track as well, to really curate also to their flow and their style, but to really create this whole entire distorted mind feel to the track that really speaks to what happens when you fall victim to those things, when you fall victim to addiction, when you're in that space where it seems like you can't get out of your own way. There's such this left turn, right turn. You don't know what's going on. Up is down, left is right, backwards is forwards. It creates such this manic personality to the song, but it fits so well with the message. And that's why the song hits as hard as it did. And that's why when I first listened, I thought, whoa, this might be my favorite song. But then I listened to Godless and I'm like, now that's my favorite song.
Now that's good to hear that it's done that. I mean, we have our producer and guitarist to thank for the incredible beats and crushing guitars that we have in the song. But yeah, I guess it feels kind of sporadic at points and kind of messy, but that's a good thing, right? Because that's what the song's all about. So it's interesting that you've picked up on that, actually. But what it was it was tough writing this time around because of COVID. We all felt super isolated, and we were changing styles of music. So rather than like writing to guitar riffs, I was writing to beats. So that, although it was a tough challenge, it allowed me to flow a bit better and actually have people hear what I'm saying, rather than when I'm screaming, they might just be like, shit, that's heavy, man. You know what I mean? Like, people can actually go, okay, he's saying best believe there's nothing wrong with me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it allows me to make a point. Rage Against the Machine, you know, massive inspiration for some of us. And I think that's why we wanted that thing that where we'll have a hook, but we're just going to say it and get more aggressive and build it up until that shit drops. So like, I think they were a heavy inspiration for the track as well. More so for the other guys, but yeah, man, no, it was just that build up of emotion and then it finally hits you. Yeah.
I can see that with Nothing Wrong With Me, because of course, you know, the hook is definitely going to be nothing wrong with me when you're constantly saying it gets more aggressive. Very similar to the style of like Killing the Name by Rage Against the Machine. All of a sudden, you know, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do it. Honestly, if there's people that are just getting to Rage Against the Machine, you ask them what the name of that song is, they're probably going to say, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. It's like, no, that's it's Killing the Name.
Yeah, man. No, I'd say the exact same thing, but
yeah, but it also stands out to just the fact that with this song, with Nothing Wrong With Me, having more of that, just not using those screams and being more straightforward lyrics, but also being as aggressive as possible with them, you're still bringing forward that message in such a clear, concise way. But then you get to Godless. I mean, it's the unclean screams, the anger that just comes straight from that song, just comes straight from the energy of that towards the whole entire questioning faith, questioning if God is real, when things... It's like, you know, why do bad things happen to good people? If they're like, kind of question, if there's a God, then why are these things happening to people that don't deserve to have these things happen to them? That moment of questioning brings forward such this anxiety and anger driven emotion and response within us that when you listen to Godless, I mean, you feel that every step of the way with how heavy it goes.
Yeah, so with that song, actually, I mean, our guitarist would probably be able to tell you a bit more about this, but before we had lyrics to it, he wanted to design it as kind of like a train wreck song. He just pictured a train on a journey to hell. So like some of the sounds in there are like, he's created like the sound of like a train like screeching and like a train crashing and stuff like that. So like, you already have that as the base of the song, but then when I wrote the lyrics to it, it changed themes. So I had the thing happen with my dad and him going into hospital, and then we wanted to write it about our feelings towards faith and losing your faith when something in your life happens, be that grief, trauma. So we've got these two blends of like, you know, hell and our feelings towards God, and they just kind of merged together. So yeah, it's an interesting one, but also it's quite nice for me to step out of my comfort zone a bit with less rappy stuff and do more of an aggressive like deathcore style track, because my older bands, when I was in like local bands and stuff, I was pretty much just like a heavy vocalist. Then I changed to like a rap vocalist, so it was nice to go back to the roots really on that one, and it's probably my favorite song on the album.
It's going to bring so much more diversity and sound to the album overall, and kind of just thinking about that idea of a train wreck kind of feel. The thing that gets me the most on that is when you're going in through the song, okay, you get to, you know, intro, you get first, chorus, but after that first chorus, all of a sudden it's like this bridge hits. I'm just like, wait, we're already getting to this now? Like, we're already going to be hitting this hard? And then right when it hits, I mean, it's just pronounced heavy, anger driven, just everything is so heavy around there. And then all of a sudden as it goes on, it starts to slow up a little bit. And I just absolutely love seeing the heavier side from you guys. But then seeing and hearing Elijah's vocals on it to really get heavier. And then seeing your vocals coming on the back end of it to match not only that heaviness, but to create that transition piece back to kind of more of that rap style that's going to be more towards that pre-chorus area. It just completely blew my mind with the transition of emotion, the anger around there, but the processing of the whole entire story around questioning your faith and questioning if God is real.
Yeah, definitely. Dude, we was talking earlier about mosh pits. This is the mosh pit track. It's Yeah, it was fun to write, super fun to write. We just wanted that pure aggression, man. It was an angry story to tell, and I feel like we've definitely got there with it. So, Gav, I'm our guitarist. I'm completely thankful we've got someone so creative that can do something like that. That's definitely going to be the part in the show where we maybe like split the crowd apart, do like a nice little wall of death or something. Yeah, I'm
See,
keen for that.
I'll say that's the part of the show where you split the crowd apart. Everyone's on the side. You're saying hold, hold, hold. You start to get into it, and right before that thing breaks, what's gonna happen is on one side of the wall, you're gonna see some dude just jump up and get like a 2-step head start because that sounds like a fun idea, and you might be thinking, who the hell would do something like that and probably go right after the biggest dude that's on the other side of the wall? And you'll see at the end of the show me going, hey, buddy, that was me.
Mosh pit friends now. Yeah.
Oh, God. I was going to say, you bring this stuff to the States, and I mean, it's probably going to be crazy enough over in Europe, but as you bring this up to the States, we're going to have to match that energy because when Godless comes on, oh, boy. That's going to be somewhere, it's like the blinders go on. It's like, alrighty, this is just mosh pit central that's here.
What's like good about kind of our set is that it's not all crazy mosh pit, wall of death kind of stuff. Like we've got songs where we get the crowd to bounce up and down. We've got like a bit more of like a crowd surf song. We get people involved with us. It's just, yeah, we like having a range of different things what we do and like different kind of energies because you're never going to get just mosher kids that come down to a show. We want to appeal to everyone. So yeah, man, let's get to the States and bring that energy.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to like a knock loose Kubla Khan show where it's just going to be a bunch of hardcore kids going nuts in the pit. No. With your guys, the different variant energies that you guys can bring to the table, you're going to get those kids that want to go mosh crazy, wall death crazy, like myself, because that sounds like a fun time, and that sounds like a great way to spend a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night during the day. I don't care. I'll be there. But changing up the energies and kind of having the ability to have people to bounce, be a more part of the show too. When bands are able to change that kind of energy and be able to flow with that kind of energy within their discography and within their set list, I mean, you can create some truly magical moments. You can create a time where everybody is into every single song every step of the way. Similar to, we're going back to the beginning with this with Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah, absolutely. No. I know exactly what you mean. It's nice to have a different range of stuff. And like I say, man, we're just happy to play. There's no point in trying to be super serious and just like angry frontman all the time. We've been referred to as metal with a smile. That's the truth, man. We love it. Like, so we're going to show the crowd that we enjoy it, and hopefully that energy will transfer onto them. So, yeah.
Metal with a smile. That is the perfect tagline. And one more question before we wrap this up. And with Bloom season coming out again, November 18th, 2022, what's going to be the plan for Borders come 2023? What are you guys looking at? You don't got to give me anything specific. I'm just looking for a little bit of a little teaser, a little bit of a taste.
So, I mean, the plan is obviously for shows. One thing I will say is that we're coming up to 10 years next March. So that could be something quite special. But yeah, man, we just want to take over world domination, get this message out to as many people as possible. Yeah, I mean, me personally, we've got Full Force Festival next year. Don't know if you've heard of that one, but like that should be super dope. I just want to hit up some festivals, man. Like, we love playing festivals, dude. We played Download Festival in the UK this year. What an experience, man. For that to be like one of the very first like shows after like COVID and stuff. Unreal. So I think, yeah, we just want to get the message out there, take over. Hopefully, you never know, might come to the States. And if we do. We'll get you guest this, mate. Don't worry. But yeah, man. Now I can't say too much because there's plans in the works. But I think what I will say is that our 10-year anniversary will be very special.
Perfectly said, because I know there's probably stuff in the works. I don't want anything specific if it can't be said yet. Just like, the little bit of teaser stuff that you might be able to put out there. just so that we're always going to be on our toes waiting to see what happens with Borders. And coming up on 10 years, something special coming in? Not going to want to miss out on that, no, am I?
You're definitely not going to want to miss out on that, no.
No, we won't. So as we bring this podcast to its conclusion, Jordan, one thing I like to do is give my chance, which is you in this case, a chance to say whatever you want to say, plug whatever you want to plug, promote whatever you want to promote at the end of the podcast. So my friend, the floor is yours.
Okay, dude. Well, we've got Bloom Season coming out November the 18th. Let's go. You're going to need to cop that on all major platforms. This has been Geordie from Borders and my boy Kevin. Thank you very much for having us today, my friend. It's been really fun. It's been also good to delve into like some of the topics of the album. So hopefully that will interest people in listening to it and hearing the story and the resolve of that story. This album is not just like a bunch of album songs. We've like every song's a single. Every song's worthy of a single. Do you know what I mean? We spent 3 years on this. It's going to hit hard. It's not only is it aggressive, but it just tells a beautiful story of chaos. And we really want you guys to hear it. So honestly, dude, thank you so much for having us. It's been really fun. And very happy to talk to you tonight, man.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Jordan. So now it's time for me to end this podcast with 3 things. So remember, Bloom Season out November 18th, 2022. So what does that mean? You're going to want to stream on all platforms. You're going to want to buy the album. You're going to want to be able to get your hands on some merch from Borders. And you're going to want to follow them on all their social media platforms because 2023, potential shows in the U.S., something big going on for that 10-year anniversary. Something crazy might happen with Bloom Season when it releases. You never know exactly what you're going to get, but you're going to want to be there. That's what I'm trying to get at. So there's plenty of places to find them, plenty of places to follow, plenty of places to listen to their music. But instead of having to search it up yourself, go to the description of the podcast. It's going to say Find Borders Online. There's going to be links for everything. Social media, where you can stream music, where you can watch the videos, where you can buy the merch, you can buy them, and the labels for it as well. So all you have to do is click and do the thing to support these guys. Trust me on it. You're going to want to do it. I'm doing all the hard work. All you got to do is click and take it from there. Now it's time for number 2, Jordan. So whenever I've guests on the podcast I've enjoyed having on the podcast, I always tend to make a certain promise. I'm going to say, thank you for taking your time to be on the podcast today. Along with, I want to continue to support the band as well because this was just an absolute blast. Before we even hit the record button, we were talking about Papa Roach mosh pits. I knew that this was going to be the case. I knew you were going to hit on this. So I'm going to have to curate this promise for you just a little bit though. So my promise does not start out with if. If implies possibility of not happening. No, screw that. My promise starts out with when. When implies this is going to happen. We just don't know the day or time yet. So normally my promise is when I get to see you perform live for the first time, first round's on me. But because you're coming up on 1 year sober, we want to make sure that continues. So first thing I see you perform live, when I just bring a whole entire pizza for the band.
Dude, if you can hit up some Pizza Hut, some Domino's. Wait, what pizza place do you have in the States? You have Pizza Hut, right? We got Pizza Hut, Domino's, like Papa John's, Little Caesars. But if you guys come to Milwaukee, I'm not going to any like fast food pizza place or any like chain pizza restaurant. No. I'm going to get you something really good. Like not just something that can get thrown in. No. There's a place that I live maybe it's about a half mile away from my house. Favorite pizza in the city. So that's where I'd go. Get you guys a nice big giant pizza. Whatever you guys want on toppings. I'm going to come through and be like, pizza man. Who's it for? For Borders, baby. For Borders. But yeah, no, we're super keen for that. But I have one very important question for you, Kevin. Yes. Do you like pineapple on pizza? I am not a pineapple on pizza kind of guy. Hell yeah. Yeah, you can buy as a pizza, man. Let's go. Alrighty. So on that note, Jordan, I cannot end this podcast by saying goodbye because I made that promise to you. I'm bringing you guys pizza when I get to see you perform live for the first time. On top of that, this can't be the only time we have you in the podcast. This was awesome. We got to do this again. We're going to make it happen. So this cannot be goodbye. This has to be, I'll see you later. Definitely, man. See you later. Well, folks, this has been Jordan from the band Borders. Once again, Bloom Season out November 18th, 2022. It should be available by the time this podcast releases.
So when this ends up going out, you're going to want to follow along with Borders. You're going to want to listen to the album. You're going to want to buy them. You're going to want to buy some merch, and you're going to want to support them when they're on tour and support them on their social media accounts. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to the description of the podcast where it says Find Borders Online. Yeah, it's down there. What you're going to do is you're going to look and see all the links there, because there's going to be a lot of links, but there's also going to be labels there as well. You're going to click on those links to go support the band, follow them on social media, subscribe to them on YouTube, watch those YouTube videos, buy the album, buy some merch, buy concert tickets. Go support these guys because Metal with a Smile, you're going to have a lot of fun. Trust me on that. Also, remember to support the Chord Progression Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for your viewing pleasure. We put all these podcasts on YouTube, so if you're watching YouTube right now and you haven't hit that subscribe button, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button for me, will you? Because it's my favorite thing to do in the world, and that helps out a lot. Or you can subscribe to our audio stream platform, Spotify, Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, and wherever else you might get your podcast. Thank you, Brit Media, for making sure we are all over the place in the web space on audio stream-wise. You demand, Noah. You demand. Thank you very much for that. If you already subscribed, a gigantic thank you for subscribing as well. I really appreciate it because this is what really drives me, along with Mosh Pits as well. If you're just subscribing right now, thank you because you're getting that same thank you. If you're not going to subscribe, you're like, I enjoyed it, but I didn't want to subscribe, please reconsider. If not, please come back anytime you feel like. Always happy to have you back. Also want to thank Manscaped for sponsoring this. 20% for free shipping, code CPP at manscaped.com in the description of the podcast. Thank you, Jordan, once again. That pizza will be coming your way at some point in 2023, I hope. And on top of that, man, I can't wait to be in the pit for Godless. Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. So on that note, that's going to be it for me today, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of the big, healthy, and hearty. See ya!